Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Caroline McGraw, and I'm from The Clearing, and today we are honored to be here with Dr. Bruce Lipton. He is an internationally recognized leader in bridging science and spirit. He is a stem cell biologist, the best-selling author of The Biology of Belief, and the recipient of the 2009 Goy Peace Award. He has been a guest speaker on hundreds of TV and radio shows, and he's been a keynote presenter for myriad national and international conferences. And fun fact, our three co-founders of The Clearing, Joe Kelzer, Betsy Kelzer, and Dr. Scott Alpert, actually read The Biology of Belief as part of their curriculum at the University of Santa Monica when they did their graduate program in spiritual psychology. So, welcome, Dr. Lipton.
I am so happy to be here and be here with you and your audience, because this is a great time of awakening of who we really are, because we've been sort of misprogrammed to believe that we're frail, vulnerable creatures at the whim of everything outside of us. And I'm excited because I believed that originally, but the research reveals, no, we are powerful creators, and we can create and we can change our creation. And that's what's so important. Excellent.
Well, that's a perfect lead into your book, which I enjoyed reading. I've got it right here. And
wow.
The logical place to start, I think, is the epiphany that you describe in the introduction, in the prologue. It's this idea that cells are primarily controlled by their physical and energetic environments, with a relatively small contribution from their genes. And as you said, this is a very empowering concept and has so many ramifications. So can you talk about some of the implications of this power that we have?
Well, let's start off with, while I was doing this strange research that changed my whole life, I was also teaching in the medical school, and I was teaching medical students the concept, what we refer to as genetic determinism. Genetic determinism is a very simple belief. It says that the genes determine and control the outcome of your life. So basically, at the moment of conception, when the genes are joined from mother and father, this is like setting a blueprint for your future. That's the belief system. So whatever genes you have, you're going to express this characteristic, and it's not you that's involved. It's the genes turning on and off, controlling who you are. So that belief is you are pre-programmed with your genetics. Right. And this is the belief system that really carries so much fear for people, because they look in their own family history and go, oh my God, there's cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. They go, oh my God, my family has suffered from this, and I am a recipient of their genes, and now I live in fear that my life is, one day the genes are just going to take over, and then I'm finished. It's like, it doesn't bode well for a future when you see that as your vision on the future. Oh my God, I can get cancer. This is really scary. And so this is the belief that the conventional public has been programmed with, a belief, again, that genes turn on and off, and in the process control your life and your characteristics. So while I was teaching that in the medical school, I was doing research on stem cells, and this is back 1967, so most of the people probably listening weren't even born. I don't know. But the simple reality was I was working on stem cells, which are embryonic cells, and cloning them. And cloning a stem cell means you just take one stem cell, put it in a petri dish all by itself, and it divides every 10 hours. So first there's one cell, then two, and then 4, 8, and doubling and doubling and doubling. After a week, I have 30,000 cells in the petri dish.
Wow.
But what's really important about this is that all the cells came from one parent. So basically, I have 30,000 genetically identical twins, so to speak. They're all genetically identical cells. But the research led me to split the group of cells into 3 different petri dishes. So I have 3 different dishes, but genetically identical cells in all 3 dishes. And then we grow cells in a tissue culture using what is called culture medium. That's the environment. So cells are like fish. You have to make an aquarium, more or less, and you put them in this aquarium, and the solution is called culture medium. I go, well, what is culture medium? Well, culture medium is the equivalent of blood. And I go, oh, so if I'm going to grow human cells, I look at what is found in human blood and then synthesize my synthetic version. I create culture medium based on the components of human blood. If I'm growing mouse cells, of course, I then look at the composition of mouse blood and then try to make culture medium based on that. Since I'm creating the culture medium and mixing all the chemicals and making culture medium, I can also vary the concentration of different elements in that culture medium as I assemble it. So let's go back. I have 3 dishes with genetically identical cells, and I create 3 different versions of culture medium, slightly changing the chemistry in each dish.
Okay.
So I have 3 dishes, each with their own environment, 3 different environments, but genetically identical cells. And in one dish, the cells form muscle. In the second dish, the cells in that different environment form bone. In a third dish with yet a different environment, the cells form fat cells. And now you're left with a very important question. They had all these different fates, muscle, bone, fat. What controls the fate of the cells? Well, you start with the fact, you say, wait, they were all genetically identical, so you would presume they would all have the identical fate. But each fate was then based on the environment in which the cells were found. And this was profound because it said the environment was eliciting the response of the cells, not the cells just generating a response. The nuclei with the genes weren't just turning on and off. The genes were responding to the environment.
Right.
And you go, so why is that important? I go, well, here's what's important. I'm teaching in a classroom that genes are controlling everything. Genetic determinism. And in the laboratory research, it says genes didn't control anything. The environment controlled the genes. And I go, okay, well, that sounds really neat. That's an abstract-y thing. You know, you're working in a lab, cells in a plastic dish. What the heck does that have to do with me?
Right.
And so the humorous side of this is that when we look in the mirror, and there's Carolyn, beautiful woman, looking back, and she says, yes, I am a single entity. I am a human being. I am a one organism. I go, that's an illusion.
Right.
Because we're made out of 50 trillion cells. A body is made out of cells. The cells are the living entity. The body, by definition, is a community of 50 trillion cells. So it's not a one thing. I got 50 trillion cells in here. Well, the significance is that my body, your body, is essentially, jokingly, a skin-covered petri dish. For inside, you have 50 trillion cells. And I go, yeah. Now, here's what's important. In regard to the fate of the cells, it doesn't make a difference if the cell's in a plastic dish or a skin dish. The cell is controlled by the environment. Well, in the culture dish, I said culture medium. Yeah, but the original culture medium is blood. So in your skin-covered petri dish, you got 50 trillion cells. You have blood, which is culture medium. And what it reveals, the profound understanding of what it reveals, is that the environment is influencing the blood, which in turn controls genetics. And you go, okay, wait, what does that mean? I go, here's what it means. It's so powerful. We are the ones that create the environment. We're the ones that respond to the environment. We're the ones who are controlling the composition of our culture medium, our blood, through our consciousness. And so why is it important? Well, the first thing is this. I'm not victim of genes turning on and off. If I'm a victim of anything, it's a victim of the environment that I'm in, or my perspective or perception of that environment. And you go, well, wait, how does perspective and perception come into it? And I go, oh, one more step.
Yes.
The human blood is the original culture medium. And then I say, well, blood has a chemical composition. So the first question is then, well, who's the chemist? Right. Who in my body is making chemistry, which is going to be the culture medium, which is going to control my genetics? I go, the brain is the chemist. That's the one that determines the chemistry. And then I go, okay, one last question.
Yes.
So what chemicals should the brain put into the blood? I go, it's based on the picture in the mind. The brain translates the picture into chemistry, and the chemistry goes into the body so that our body becomes a complement to the picture. It's sort of like paint by numbers in reverse. Paint by numbers, remember you get a picture with all outlined with numbers in, and then you say, what are the numbers? I say, oh, that's the paint.
Right.
So different colors go inside, and when you put the paints in the right spaces, boom, Picasso shows up. There you got this beautiful piece of artwork. I go, okay. That's you start with a blank, fill in the colors, and then you get the picture. And I go, okay, now reverse that. The mind starts with a picture. The brain breaks it down into numbers. And the numbers are not paint, but neurochemicals, hormones, growth factors, emotional chemicals. So the brain looks at the picture, translates it into numbers, chemistry, and then releases that paint into the culture medium, and then the culture medium goes to the cells and creates the complement of the picture. Your biology is a complement to your mind. So simple. Let's just resolve it, because this is the most profound, important point, and that is this. Let's say I'm sitting here, eyes closed. I open up my eyes. I see a beautiful woman. I go, wow, Carolyn, she's so beautiful. And I love that woman. And I go, so what does that happen? I say, well, the picture of Carolyn, the understanding of love is a mental image. And I say, what does the brain do? It translates that into chemistry that complements the picture. I go, well, what kind of chemistry? So I say, well, a picture of love releases dopamine, which is pleasure. So that's why when you're in love, it's like, oh, I feel so good. I go, that's the chemistry that came from love. And I go, what else? I say, oxytocin comes from a picture of love. I say, what's that? Bonding. That means I want to bond to who's giving me that love. So the chemistry is making me bond. I say, what else? I say, vasopressin. I go, what's that? I go, that's a chemical that makes us more attractive. I go, why should I have that? I said, because I want to keep my partner, my mate, I want to keep them present. So if I'm more attractive, they'll stay present more. So that's a chemical that does that. And then more importantly, the hormone, growth hormone. Growth hormone is released when you're in love. So brain sees love in the picture and then says, okay, dopamine, pleasure, oxytocin, bonding, vasopressin, let's get the cells healthy and grow them best. And growth hormone, as the name says, enhances your growth and vitality. And I go, when those chemicals are part of your culture medium, blood, those chemicals enhance the vitality of the cells. That's why when people fall in love, somebody goes, oh, look how they glow. They're so in love. Right. It's like the glow is the chemistry of the blood, the culture medium giving full vitality to the cells. Like, oh, great. And I say, wait a minute. Same mind that was just focusing on love turns around, sees something that scares the hell out of them. I say, then what? I say, the chemistry of love, that's not coming out right now. A picture of fear releases a completely different set of chemistry. Fear releases stress hormones and inflammatory agents. I go, wow, well, they shut down the growth of the system. Not to punish you, but growth takes energy. Running away from a saber-toothed tiger takes energy. And you say, well, how much energy can you get together here to run away from that thing that scares you? And I go, as much energy as I can. I say, how can you get it? I say, shut down everything that is using energy that I don't need right now. I don't need to grow. I'm running from a saber-toothed tiger. I don't need my immune system because the immune system uses a lot of energy. If you think about it, when people are sick, I say, when you're really sick, you didn't even have enough energy to get out of bed. So when the immune system is really working, it uses so much energy, it can weaken you. I say, well, you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. Is this a good time for the immune system? I go, no. So stress hormones in the vision of fear, shut down the immune system to save energy. They shut down growth to save energy. I go, so what's the consequence of that? I say, if you sustain fear, you're going to kill the system. Fear was never designed to be every day, 24/7. Fear in the original period was how many minutes it took to run away from a saber-toothed tiger. If you escape the saber-toothed tiger, no more fear. So fear would be only used for a little piece of time, shut down everything for a short period of time while I run. Once I'm safe, everything comes back and I'm back in health again. But today, that fear for most people is now 24/7, 365. Fear, am I going to keep my job? Am I going to be healthy? Am I going to have insurance? Will I have food? What's going on in the world? I'm afraid of these people. I go, geez, 24/7. It's like we were never designed to be in fear that long, because fear shuts down those vital functions and was only meant to escape. But if you stay in fear, then you are creating blood culture medium that is loaded with chemicals that shut down the mechanism and will cause disease. So I say, okay, what is the conclusion of all of the stuff Bruce just talked about? And the answer is very simple. We are skin-covered petri dishes. Our cells are fed culture medium, which is blood. The chemistry of the culture medium determines the fate of the cell. Healthy, sick, dead. That's the chemistry that determines that, not the genes. I say, why is it relevant? Because I'm the one, Bruce, who can change my chemistry based on what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, where I'm living. I go, oh, yeah, I live in an environment. I can change that environment. My thought of fear, I said, I can change my thought of fear. And all of a sudden you start to realize, wait a minute, I am not a victim of circumstances out of my control, because my consciousness, my mind, and my nervous system is shaping my genetics. I go, what does that mean? I say, look, you can come with the most perfectly healthy set of genes possible, but if you live in a world of fear, stress, you can generate every disease on this planet. You can generate cancer. Cancer is not genetic. Cancer is actually a symptom. I go, everyone thinks the cancer is the problem. I go, no, the cancer is waking you up and saying you're not living in harmony with your life. And the cells are revealing this wound, so to speak. And you say, well, I'm just going to clear out the cancer cells. I go, that wasn't the problem. The cancer was reflecting another problem. And so when we start blaming our body, oh, I have this illness and I have this illness, and oh, my cells are stupid, my cells are genetically inferior, or whatever you want to say, and that I am just a victim of biology, I go, that is so far from the truth, it's unbelievable. Only 1%, it's actually less than 1% of disease is connected to genes. Wow. Now, stop for a second. If less than 1% of disease is connected to genes, then you got a very big question to ask. It's like, well, where the heck is the rest of the disease coming from? And we now know it's how we deal with the world around us. I say, why is that relevant? Because we can change that. And all of a sudden it says, oh my God, I'm the one that created the illness, and yet I'm also the one that can heal the illness. Once I understand that, I stop blaming genes, cells, biology, stop blaming them, because that was what we were programmed. Oh, I'm not responsible. My genes did that. And it's like, oh, you got to pass. Oh, it's not, I have no responsibility. It's like, no. 99 out of 100, you're responsible. And yet you didn't know that. And if you didn't know that, that means you were unaware of it. Sure. And if you're unaware of it, why is that important? And this is really critical, Carolyn, because when people start to hear that I'm responsible for my health and then review their life and go, I can't own responsibility. I can't own responsibility. I feel so bad about that. I was like, I can't own that. Right. And so then, because then the words like shame, guilt, victim, blame, all these words start showing up. I want to end this right now, because this is the most important limiting belief. It's like feeling shame about what happened. It's like, look, the words blame, victim, shame, guilt, they're all connected with one very important fact. And that is, a person knows there's a right way to do something, and in spite of knowing that, they choose not to do that, then they're guilty. Then they can be blamed. Then they can have shame. Why? They knew there was a right way and then decided not to do it. That's their choice. But, and this is the one I want the audience to understand, if you have no awareness about any of your involvement, how can you be blamed for it? I say, look, I drive a standard shift car. I go, so why is that relevant? So I say, take my car and go to town and get something and come on back. And then you get in the car and you go, Bruce, I don't know how to drive standard shift. I say, here, just put your foot on the clutch, push it, go. Yeah. And you go down the street, buck in the car. And then you call me from town and you go, geez, Bruce, I'm so sorry. The car is broken. The mechanic says the clutch is broken. And then, can I legitimately, this is the question, go, well, you stupid idiot, you ruined my car. And the answer, I can't say that. I was the one who said, take the damn car. I never showed you how to drive the car. And if I never showed you how to drive the car, then you are not responsible because I said, take the car. And you can't go, oh my God, I'm so guilty. I should be so ashamed of ruining Bruce's car. And go, you didn't know how to drive the car. Yeah. You said you didn't know how to drive the car. And yet I said, go do it. And so why is this relevant? I'm the one that's got the problem. You just got caught in the middle of it. And I need people to understand out there, if we had no awareness that we control our biology, and we have no idea of how that even happens, how can you be responsible for the past? You can't. Now, I wasn't raised in the Christian religion, and I'm not religious. I don't really care. I'm spiritual, but not religious. But I have to say, there was this one quote that always sticks in my mind, the quote of Jesus in the last moment of his life. And the quote was, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. This is like, take this home and take it personally. If you did not know how to do this, you know not what you did. And you cannot be blamed. Forgive them. Forgive yourself. You didn't know what to do. And now the idea is, so I say, fine, but that's history. Because starting at this moment, you're going to become aware that you are creating this. And with that knowledge, then you are given responsibility. If I know how it works, then I should be responsible of running it appropriately to have health and happiness in my life. And I go, once you become aware, then you are personally responsible for your life. Before you're aware, how can I, oh, you got cancer. Well, you're the stupid idiot. I go, no, how, you had no awareness. How can you get blamed for that? So the idea is this, let's let go of the past. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Father, forgive me. I know not what I did. I say, yeah, but now that I do know, now I'm responsible. And I go, why is it relevant? Because when you take responsibility, then you are powerful. If you deny responsibility, I say, I'm giving up my power. Let somebody else take care of it. Let the physician take care of this. It's like, are you kidding me? They're still operating from the principle of genes. They're wrong. It's us. We are creators. We've always been told we are creators. That's always been part of the story, except we didn't ever believe it because we are, oh, no, genes made me do this. Genes caused that. And I go, no, this is the wake-up call. When you know how it works, then it says, then the emphasis is, I want you to have a better life. I want you to have a happy, healthy, what is a happy, healthy life? And I go, I ask people, I say, what was it like the first time you ever fell in love? Big time, you know, where you fell in love. I say, your life could suck every day until you met that one person. Every day your life is, I hate my life, I hate my life. And then you meet this one person, it's like 24 hours later, it's like, God, life is beautiful. That's like heaven on earth. I love my life. I love it. Oh, look, I'm so in love. And I'm healthy and I'm happy. And I go, what was that all about? And the answer was this. We created happy. We created honeymoon.
Up here.
But we also created the crap that led to the honeymoon. It's just that we changed our mind. And all of a sudden, love became the emphasis of what we were all about. And once love was the, presiding force over my life, all of a sudden, guess what? I was happy. I was healthy. I was full of joy. Everything. I go, well, you were the one that created that. Yeah. I go, yeah, as much as you created that, you also have to look and say, before I felt that, I also created that. I say, but if you understand what love is all about, then you're going to understand and say, wait, can I have a honeymoon every day? Yes, you can have a honeymoon every day. I say, well, most people's honeymoon ends after a short period of time. I go, because we still haven't caught on. And so I'm talking a lot, Carolyn. Should I just go on a little bit more?
Sure. I mean, I have a list of questions, but we're here to hear from you. So
I'll just finish this, and then it opens up. Because what we're really saying about is just my mind is creating my life experiences. That's absolutely true. That's quantum physics and new biology called epigenetics. Both of those say exactly the same thing. I say, okay, wait a minute. Then how come I was creating crap and I didn't know it? And then all of a sudden I created love and I didn't know that either. And I go, because on a day-by-day basis, we are operating from subconscious programs. And the first word that's important is subconscious.
Yeah.
That means below consciousness. My behavior is not operating from my thinking, it's operating from a recording. I go, where'd you get the recording?
Yeah.
The primary recordings came from your mother, your father, and your family in the first 7 years of your life. That's where we learn the rules of how to manage our lives, how to be a member of a family, how to be a member of a community. What are the rules and how do you behave? You have to have behavior. I say, first 7 years, you acquire these behavior characteristics and how you respond to life by observing other people and copying theirs. So the first 7 years, our mind is in a record mode, and we watch our mother, father, and siblings and community, observe how they do things, and that becomes our subconscious program. And I go, so we got programmed. I go, yeah, we are all got programmed. Everyone. I go, that's the story of the Matrix. Yes. The Matrix is not science fiction. The Matrix is a documentary. There's not one person on this planet that did not get programmed in the first 7 years, because that's how the brain operates in the first 7 years. That's because you need to learn thousands of facts and behaviors as an infant. I say, I can't give a 3-year-old, here's a book, read this book, and then you'll be a member of the family. It's like, no. So nature creates the first 7 years as downloading by observing. And then that becomes subconscious. Excuse me.
Sure.
The other mind, the one that's connected to us personally, who's that other mind that's our spirit, that other mind that makes us unique, is called the conscious mind. And I said, what's the difference? I say, subconscious is just programs. Push the button, play the program. Just play it. You can. It's not bad. People think subconscious is evil. I go, no, wait a minute. Think about this. You learned how to walk before you were 2. You're still walking? Yep, I'm 70-something. I say, I'm still walking. I say, yeah, from what program? The one I got before I was 2. Yeah. I didn't have to relearn how to walk again. So I say, then the subconscious provides us with really important programs. Walking, talking, all these things. I go, yeah. So the subconscious isn't bad, but you can get some bad downloads. You can observe people who are not living in harmony and then acquire their behavior. Okay. And then I say, so what was it then? I'm living off of these subconscious programs. It turns out science reveals 95% of the day you are not creating with conscious spirit mind. 95% of the day you are just replaying programs. Okay. And I say, why is that relevant? Well, subconscious, first of all, I play programs and I don't even see them. And I say, Caroline, this is a story I've said 20 years in my lectures. 20 years, same story. So it's because everyone gets it.
Yeah.
I say, you've had a friend in the past. You know your friend's behavior. You know your friend very well. And you happen to know your friend's parent. And one day you see that your friend has exactly the same behavior as their parent. So you want to tell your friend, it's real exciting. You go, hey, Bill, you're just like your dad. And you back away from Bill. Bill goes totally ballistic. How can you compare me to Dad? I'm nothing like my father. I'm not like my dad at all. And gets upset. Most people are familiar with this. I go, everyone is Bill. There's nobody that's not Bill. I said, but what's the meaning of the story? And the meaning is this. Everyone else can see that Bill behaves like his dad. The only one who doesn't see it is Bill. And we are all Bill, meaning what? 95% of the day, like Bill, you're playing programs and you can't see them. I go, why is it relevant? Because if the majority of these programs are negative and disempowering, which they are, then that means 95% of the day you could be disempowering yourself, sabotaging yourself, and you're the only one who doesn't see it. And I say, why is it relevant? Because that's where victim comes in. I want health, happiness, great relationship. I say, that's really great. And then you look at your life and you say, but it's not working. And you go, well, why is it not working? Why is it not working? You go, I don't know, because this is what I want and I'm not getting it. The universe is not helping me. The universe is not in my fate to be successful. Why? Because if you can't see that you were involved with sabotaging yourself, you're only left with the outside is sabotaging me. And it turns out, no, this is not true. The outside will give you everything. You sabotage yourself, like Bill, 95% of the day playing programs that sabotage you. You can't see it. All you see is the result. I started off this morning looking for health. I come home. I'm not any healthier than when I started. The universe not helping me. Okay, so we bought victim. And then I say, oh, well, so we're sort of like the Matrix. We've been programmed, and our life is like this program. And the idea that we've been programmed, that's not even new. Yeah. For 400 years, the Jesuits have told people, give me a child until it's 7 and I will show you the man. That was a famous phrase. And I said, they've been telling that for 400 years. I said, did they ever stop to say, what the hell does that mean?
Right. What
give me a child for 7 and I'll show you the man. And the answer is yes, because now we know scientifically the first 7 years is programming. So whatever programming is going on, primary is 7 years. Then what? I said, well, then 95% of your life comes from the program. So you pretty much are going to become the program. So the quote is, give me a child until it's 7, programming period, and I'll show you the man. Why? Because after 7, 95% of his life is going to be that program. So if I put in the program, I'm going to determine what's the outcome of the program. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, we have been programmed and they've known it for 400 years. Okay, now the last piece, finally. So what happened with the honeymoon? And I go, that was like in the Matrix. They say, take the red pill and get out of the program. Falling in love, science has revealed, is the equivalent of taking the red pill, because when you fall in love, you stop defaulting to the subconscious programs and keep your hands on the wheel with conscious. I say, yeah, but conscious got wishes and desires. I go, precisely. The moment you fell in love, you stopped playing the disempowering programs. You started playing wishes and desires. I say, what did you create with wishes and desires? I said, the honeymoon, heaven on earth. I go, yeah, but you could have done that every day. That was you just not playing the program. And I say, oh, then how come the honeymoon ends? And the answer is because what we now recognize is the conscious mind can run the show, put the hands on the wheel, drive it with wishes and desires. But when the conscious mind thinks, then it lets go of the wheel, because thinking is an inside job. So I say, oh, okay, Carolyn, tell me what you're doing on Saturday. If you're going to really answer that question, I said, where's the answer? It's not on the floor. It's not in the palm or your hand. It's inside. Oh, so if I'm going to think of an answer, then I have to let go of the driving of the vehicle, because consciousness has to go inside and say, what the hell am I doing on Saturday? I go, well, why is it relevant? The moment consciousness lets go of the wheel, autopilot subconscious kicks in, and that's when we start playing the program. So why 95% of the day are we playing subconscious programs? The answer is straightforward. That's how much of the day we're thinking. And the honeymoon is the one part where we stop thinking and start being present. Why are you not thinking at the honeymoon? I say, because everything you've been looking for is in front of your face. Why would you think now when everything is right here? So we stay mindful. Staying mindful means not defaulting. I say, the moment you stayed mindful is the moment you created heaven on earth. And I say, and the significance? The moment you were being mindful was the moment you stopped playing the program. The moment you stopped playing that program and started living by wishes and desires, you manifested it. Question is, does it only work if I fall in love? I don't know. Anytime you keep your mind present, you're in control. But when the mind is thinking, subconscious is in control. So staying mindful means, well, you could be present all the time. You could have a honeymoon every day. You could be that way forever. Frequently, it's a little difficult because there's so many things coming into your life that you're forced to think. I say, so then the last thing, finally, Lipton's going to say the last thing and then shut up. The last thing is this. Well, the reason your life is coming out this way is because you're just playing a program. Your life has been programmed. And if the program isn't any good, then you look at your life and you go, my life sucks. And I go, now the final last piece. You can rewrite the program. If you don't like the way it's working, you can change the program. You are the author. And the relevance about that is you have to engage a process of changing subconscious. And the moment you engage that process, you can rewrite the subconscious programs. Now, people say, well, but I was programmed actually just before I was born through age 7. I go, yeah. And you say, but I don't know what the program one was when I was 0 or 1 or 2
Yeah.
Even 3, I may not even know what the hell was going on. And so, you know, it's like, how do I know what my program is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is so peacefully beautiful and simple.
Mm-hmm.
95% of our life is coming from the program. Your life is a printout of your program. Simple. Whatever you like and love and it comes into your life, it comes in because you have a program to acknowledge it. Whatever you search, seek, want, desire, and you have to work hard at it. You have to sweat over it. You're putting a lot of effort into it. I want this and I'm going to work real hard to make it happen. Why are you working so hard? And the answer is because that destination is not supported by your program. And that's why you're struggling to override, not nature. You're struggling to override your own limitations. So you want to know what your program is? Look at your life. All the things that you want and you can't seem to get easily is not because the universe won't give it. It's because hidden inside the subconscious is a program that is preventing you from getting it. And you want to make an effort. And I go, yeah, but 95% of the day the program is running. 5% of the day you're running the program. I say, you make an effort. And I go, yeah, 5% of the day. That's how much time if you spend all 5% working on that program, that's great. But I say, but 95% is still coming from automatic. So you see, life is a struggle. But it's not a struggle between you and the environment. It's a struggle between you and your program. And if you change the program, you are empowered.